Hi, welcome to the second of the three videos that I promised I'll take you through. If you remember, in the first video, we had talked about how the CI Institute of Logistics has got the noble task of fulfilling the Indian government's and the Indian economy's dream of the Make in India and the Atmanirbhar Bharat campaign come true. What did we have to do? We'll therefore have to play a supportive role to the government by shoring up the efficiencies and therefore the competence of the Indian logistics and supply chain sector. And if you remember, we had said we will have to start it ground up. So what does that mean? That means that the CI Institute of Logistics is having the objective, a noble objective of building a very strong foundation for our economy. And we intend to do this at an individual level because that's when we'll be grounds up, right? And that's why we said we will start this foundation course in professional supply chain management. So in this video, what I'm going to do is to take you through the structure and some details of this foundation course. But in at this point in time, I want to take you through some basic differentiators, three basic differentiators of how this foundation course aims to be one of its kind in the domain. Yeah. So the first one is in the course we talk about what we call as bodies of knowledge. Now, all that we try to do is to transform you from, or in fact, transport you from wherever you are into the business professional world and try to give you a heads up, a clean heads up, and fairly detailed knowledge of what happens in the industry, of all the concepts that we learn in the academic institutions. So it's a more practical oriented input that we will give in this course, and therefore I kind of jumped the gun when I said the second unique thing that we want to do is to give you only practical insights, insights that you will not find in any books whatsoever. Yeah. So this course is actually the culmination of more than a few hundred years of professional experience of different experts in the field of supply chain management. And we bring this together in the form of a fairly consolidated and a solid, course for you in supply chain. The third is, although it is a course which is primarily online, we are going to have enough exercises that we will work you guys through. And therefore, this is not only self-work that you will do on your own, but through different contacts in terms of how we will administer the course. We have opportunities for contact sessions through which we will make this self-work interactive. So I think you're in for an exciting journey. As we go along in this video, you will you will come convinced that this is a course which is one of its kind, and therefore the CI Institute of Logistics labeling this as a unique initiative is fair after all. So having looked at the basic difference, let us now get into the content of the foundation course here. Before which I want you to understand the significance of the waterfall that I have shown here. Waterfall as a theme is very, very central to everything in life because what is it? It's just a continuous flow of water from origin to destination, right? So the water starts somewhere up in the mountains, transforms into a waterfall so long as it's on the mountain slopes, transforms into a stream or a river depending on the flow of current, and then finally the water merges into the ocean. Why is this important? This is important from the viewpoint of completeness and continuity. You people need to understand that everything in life is a continuous stream of activities. It's it's for different reasons, maybe for the purposes of ease of administration in organizations, or it is for the purposes of having people to specialize in different functions within a business, that we compartmentalize this flow and then try to manage the businesses and operations the best way we can. But that has come to us at some cost because we have lost the visibility of the flow. And therefore, I cannot at any point in time underestimate the importance of your trying to understand the value of a waterfall picturization of everything that you do in life. Yeah, that said, let me now get into the waterfall flow of the course in the foundation level. So it has got three components. Now, having said that it is a continuous thing, I'm also breaking it into components because that facilitates comprehension, that facilitates understanding. But also remember one thing, while compartmentalization may be necessary to facilitate understanding, execution, which means the way you do the job back on the floor, whether it be at home, at work, wherever. It has to be a continuous flow. Anyway, so let's start with the first component of this foundation course. We call it the business management treasure trove. We call it a treasure trove only because we pride in it. Like I said in the earlier video, the content that you see here is the result of more than 100 years plus of professional experience of various stalwarts in the industry who have been leaders in the supply chain field with demonstrated achievements to their credit. So that's why we call it the treasure trove. So the business management treasure trove is basically an introduction to businesses and organizations. How has business evolved together with civilization? After all, business cannot evolve from a vacuum, isn't it? Business has adapted itself to the evolution of human civilization from the time that people stayed on riverfronts as small communities to the metropolitan megapolises that we see today. There's been a huge transformation in the way businesses are conducted. Even in the last 20, 30 years, you would have seen a fairly disruptive transformation in business. The way we are going online, for example, the way e-commerce is coming into play in the last few years, the way simple things like even telephony has evolved over a period of time. Yeah. So business management by itself has gone through tremendous transformation over a period of time. And I would like you to understand the flow of this business evolution. And that's where I take you through this business management treasure trove. We start with origins of businesses, how organizations have evolved, how does an organization discharge its functions, and so on. So that's the major part of the business management treasure trove. Having said how businesses have originated and how they function, some critical success factors at the base level that are responsible for success of any business. I call them as the critical success factors. These critical success factors are in the form of major bodies of knowledge, say process management, project management, process reengineering, quality management, theory of constraints. There are a whole bunch of work practices that are important to manage businesses effectively, no matter which business you are in. So, those are the segments that we will discuss in the business management treasure trove. Having done that part of it, we move to the second obvious component, which is the supply chain management treasure trove, which is the heart of this course, by the way. So, in the supply chain management treasure trove, we take you through the functional aspects of supply chain more than the subjects of supply chain. So, there will be more than a dozen bodies of knowledge surrounding this vast field of supply chain treasure trove, which we will describe in a way that can only be very vivid for you to understand, like you are already working in an organization. It's very important because that's the way it becomes a truly foundational course. Now, having given you the business insight and the supply chain insight, and what are the critical success factors for us to succeed in these, the next obvious and perhaps the most important part is the professional development that is required in order for us to be successful professionals. So, if there are critical success factors of business, for example, or critical success factors for supply chain, what is it that we as individuals need to possess as characteristics. If we have to be working in an organization that wants a very quick response supply chain, what is it that we as individuals need to have? We need to have qualities of quick decision taking, isn't it? Logical, right? So just that's just as an example. So we believe that it's equally important that we give you insights into what are the professional development skills that might be important for you as you progress through your career. And after all, this is the foundation course, so you will have enough opportunities to learn from this and deploy these skills in work as you join different organizations. Now, will this make you a rounded individual? I certainly believe it will, because we believe that uh, it's important that you get this rounded experience. Now you see these figures of 50%, 25%, and 25%. Now these are the indicative amount of content that we will finally provide you with in this foundation course. Now this is purely illustrative. Obviously, because it's a foundational course in supply chain management, half of the content, if not a bit more than half, would be devoted to supply chain, and the balance being equally split between business management treasure trove and the professional development treasure trove. Now, this is just a mere indication. I don't think we should get stuck around the mathematics of how we computed this and so on. It's just to facilitate your understanding. But let me assure you that once you went through these three different treasure troves that we want to share you with, your foundation will be extremely solid. Yeah, and that's where you will progress from being a normal individual to a differentiated, one of a kind individual in the supply chain field. So we said that the foundation that we're going to lay for you is solid, right? I don't know how many of you noticed that the three component foundation course is built in the form of an arrow. Yeah, it's a bit of an imagination, but it does look like an arrow, right? Why did we do this? Because we believe once you have gone through the course, you're actually ready to shoot. And what is the feeling you will have? You will have a feeling of saying, wow, I got it. Yeah. What have you got? You have got basically the fact through that you have hit the bullseye. Now, why does the course help you hit the bullseye? Is it only in your career? I'm not too sure. I want you to view it far beyond just looking at it as a course that helps you succeed in career. I want you to look at it as a course that makes a jump start to your professional life and your personal life as well. Remember my water flow concept? I don't think you can be a different individual personally and a different individual professionally. So I want you to have the water flow concept even for yourself. And this is how, through the content and delivery, we will be arming you. And that's our fondest hope. That will be our absolutely sincere and most engineered effort to arm you thus. Yeah. So having done this, isn't it quite obvious that your career in supply chain will become that much brighter? Surely so. I am sure you will stand out differentiated from the rest of the people who come from normal academic institutions without this foundation course. You will stand apart as somebody who's got far higher insights into how to be effective as a business professional. So that's why I'm saying with great amount of confidence that you have arrived at the right place in terms of having to take this course forward. Having said that you will hit the bullseye, it's very necessary for me before I let you go to know that who are this you that I'm talking to you about? Who are these people who will have enormous benefits looking at this course as they progress through life? I think there are very many. Now let's look at what it would do for the student through the different stages of his or her life. Now, as they finish their graduation, or even as they are undergoing their graduation, they will find that after running through this course, they can make a very conscious choice of supply chain as their career. The reason why I'm saying this is like I said before in one of the earlier videos, supply chain will be and will continue to be the sunrise industry for the next couple of decades at least. Yeah, so the demand for resources in this sphere of specialization is going to increase pretty much manifold. So there is already a trend where a lot of engineers are looking at supply chain as a career because it's exciting. Supply chain has a lot of engineering, as you will see once you run through this course. So for students, it makes enormous benefit in terms of a conscious choice of career that they can make after they have seen and run through this course. For the faculty, the way things are delivered in this foundation course, I can bet you is extremely different from what is done in a classroom setting. And I can assure you that because and I'm saying this from experience. Yeah. So what will it do for the faculty if they had to run through the courses? They will have learned a novel method of pedagogy. How do they take the students through a learning experience? Is it only through lectures? I'm not so sure. Yeah, so I think quite a number of our faculty would do well and very differently in terms of taking classroom sessions for the students if they have undergone this course. Now, finally, if we look at even an industry professional, meaning a person who has already joined career and is at different stages, maybe at the entrance level or maybe at the middle management level, or may also be at the threshold of a senior management level in organizations. Now, the trouble with supply chain training and profession has been that there has been no conscious choice of having to arm people right from the time that they are in school or in college. So there is a fair amount of deficit, knowledge deficit that we have in terms of people who are already in the industry, but who have learned a lot through experience than through a formal system of learning. To them, this foundation course in professional supply chain management will be extremely useful because of the unique work insights that they will get from this course. So I think a lot of people will find a lot of snippets from this course that's useful to them. So it's to our mind, it's an extraordinary amount of value for money. Yeah. So if you have any further details that you would like to get in terms of talking to people and then understanding, because I've always believed that talking to people and getting to clarify your doubts is the best way of doing things. So you are welcome to call us here. Thank you and look forward to you at the course.